Alright boys, welcome to my Whirlwind Barbarian build for Season 5, and as you can see on the screen, I did manage to hit way above 460 million and 430 million within 1 second from the Whirlwind Dust Devil itself, because we are using the Ancient Skull, the Ancient setup. We have no cooldown on that ability at all, despite that being an ultimate ability. And I'm pretty sure I can manage to hit for up to 500 million, even more, because there are some more things to improve on and do some changes with Paragon Board, because I'm gonna test out maxing out Twister Glyph, which we don't have right now, as it didn't work last season and it was not worth maxing out. But so far it is my highest number, almost 1 billion with Whirlwind in one attack within 1 second. I mean, that's just absolutely insane. Barbarian is officially back. It's shredding through tier 8. And let's get into the business. My highest ether I've gotten so far was over 1100, as you can see on the screen. But yeah, this just, even if you get good spires, aka the affixes for the horde, it still matters on the RNG, on the events, what spawns when you fill the red bar on the screen. But I just want to show you a little bit of a gameplay and whatnot in the horde. Like I said, this build in general just shreds through it and no problem. There is a problem with Ancients though, the one that does Whirlwind, aka casts Dust Devils that scale from your stats. That's why it does up to almost 500 million damage. Sometimes that Ancient does not work. I don't know what's the trigger or under what situation he doesn't attack. I believe when you don't press any extra ability, any extra keybinds, like you have to really stop your character on the spot and cast Ancients for that Ancient to work. You can see on the screen when he whirls with his sword, the Whirlwind. But I mean, this is like, I don't know, this is like playing tier 5 horde. It's no problem at all. Extremely tanky build. You will see pretty disgusting items on my build. I gotta say, I was pretty lucky, but you don't really need that. I gotta say though, when it comes to Barb, you really need to hit everything to the point, min-max when it comes to affixes, mainly masterworks, like triple proc on certain affixes, like max resource on either Grandfather, or you can go with damage. Now, Locran's Amulet, max resource, Ramladni's Sword, max resource, because Ramladni is the best damage multiplier for Barbarian right now in Season 5. So we are dual wielding and we're stacking max resource for the weapon. It's really crazy. Now, I was able to reach almost 400 Fury. I was testing, I have 2 Grandfathers, one with greater affix on the max resource, the other one on damage. I tested both. I triple proc masterwork on that stat as well. And it seems like you would say that because of Ramladni and stacking resource, that max resource Grandfather would give you more damage. Doesn't seem to be the case. It looks like the damage one gives you more, or gives me more damage. I'll try to do some more tests and whatnot with that, but yeah, that's what I just thought. And also we're using Fist of Fate gloves, and there is a current bug. There's more bugs for Barb, but I'm just gonna name one, and that puts the class even more below than other classes, which is pretty crazy. But Fist of Fate cancel out Ramladni's aspect damage increase every time you step into a new instance or even a boss room. So what we gotta do is we gotta unequip the sword and equip it back up for it to activate in every single instance. So once you teleport to Horde, you gotta do that, and once you reach the boss room for the council, you gotta do it again. Sadly, this is not possible in the pit. In the pit, you cannot change items or anything like that. So I would do a different setup for a pit. More about it later. But let me pop the planner on the screen so we can talk about some more stuff. I'll put the footage in the middle so you can see some of the good stuff as well happening. All right. Let's start first things first. So the technique, we're using the classic 200x for vulnerable damage. Now we are using the classic Whirlwind. We do not put points in it because we are not scaling from the core skill itself. We are scaling from Dust Devils. Iron Skin to keep us at full HP to trigger Tyrell's Might, because this one will cast Divine Marriage, aka Holy Bolts, if you're full HP. We got triple shouts for buffing ourselves up, and also to cast Dust Devils, and also to reduce the cooldown of Ancients with the Martial Glyph on our Paragon Board. With each shout, you're reducing cooldowns by 2 seconds on 2 of these skills. So we have non-stop uptime on both Goldie Ancients and Iron Skin, because with this setup, and with the new rework on this unique Arid's bearing with the Goldie Ancients cooldown reduction, it reaches up to 50% or even more if you masterwork it. We are able to reach the lowest cooldown possible for this ability, which is 12.5 seconds. It is just absolutely crazy. Now, Call of the Ancients, I think it's better than Wrath of the Berserker, despite some barbs, most barbs play Wrath of the Berserker. Because Call of the Ancients give you damage increase, 20% multiplier, or 30%, they actually buffed it. Then attack speed, 20%, gives you resource generation as well by a lot, and they themselves deal a lot of damage. I mean, you could see that. And that engine is for up to almost 500 million. So yeah. I also set up set up a couple of things with the ultimate skill. You can go with either or the ultimates, and then depending which one I'm gonna go for. Now starting off with the skill tree, you're gonna put 2 points wherever just to unlock the core skill, which is a Whirlwind, and we put bleeding here because we have some damage reductions with bleeding. Lucky hit on vulnerable, because of Fist of Fate, that item has a high lucky hit, so this will, you know, almost guarantee us to proc that vulnerable on the target non-stop, so that won't be an issue. Next up, we get Rallying Cry, and we go with Result Generation for the starters to reach, you know, the Fury cap as soon as possible to proc the damage multiplier from Marmaladny. Shiny Shot for survivability, but also for Fury Generation. They double this, buffed it basically. Next up, we got the one passive Inherent Thorns, because we're using Revenge Glyph in the Paragon Board, and that one states that if you deal Thorns damage on the target, you will deal more damage in general to the target. Other barbs don't even have this point; they have no Thorns, so they're not activating the Glyph. More HP, we got some damage reductions. Next up, you want a Maxwell Warcry for the damage, and here this is our only source for Fortify. But with this current setup I have in when I'm in the middle of mobs, my Warcry is 2-second cooldown, so very good source for Fortify. Booming Voice for shouts to last longer. We get some damage reductions with aggressive resistance. Now, if you struggle with resource, I recommend putting 3 points in Prolific Fury. You could probably sacrifice points either from Warcry or Slaying Strike here, which is extra damage to injured enemies. Injured is enemies 35% HP or lower. Pit Fighter, more damage and damage reduction. We get some damage extra while fortified from counteroffensive. Go of the Ancients, once again, like I said, I had one left point, so I put it in dual wield attack speed. Obviously, I could max this out, I might. Tempered Fury for more Fury, 8k more damage. Well up, that's why we have one-handed mace in a dual wield, so we can proc this passive. This is one of the best damage multipliers for Barbarian. And Unconstrained, good old Unconstrained, still good after the nerf. Moving on to Paragon Board, let's talk about that. So first board, we're rocking Twister. Like I mentioned, this didn't scale too well last season because the multiplier 13% didn't really work. But putting more points in strength to max this glyph out, I might try it as my next test. This glyph is definitely belongs in this board because there is the most strength nodes, 75 out of 40, which brings me to a second board, Carnage right here. And here we put ambidextrous because I like to, you know, buff the damage reduction and damage while berserking. Next up, we got Warbringer. This one is to increase the max fury on both sides. And the glyph here, I go with Wrath because it's very good dexterity board. Next up, we got Decimator. We put Imbiber here. This is the like attack power increase. I'm kind of testing this glyph. I think it goes pretty well with the Grandfather because the damage from Grandfather is also attack power. And just very short for willpower. You can probably go with Undaunted glyph as well instead if you want to. Next board we get over here is Blood Rage for the damage increase. For this one, you're aiming for 296% berserking because it rounds up. So that right there will give you 30% cap for this node. So I'll pick some on the side here. Here we go with Marshall because, you know, why not some extra damage to bleeding and damage reductions increase. Another board we got is a Bonebreaker. This is just only for the glyph itself. Here we go with Exploit for dexterity and extra damage while healthy. Damage reduction while healthy. Good defensive layer. We are super tanky with this build. And my favorite board as the last one is Flawless Technique. This is for the crit damage. Passives over here, but also crit damage while with one-handers. This also adds pretty good damage. Increase overall. And Revenge Glyph that buffs Rare Nodes, which is both crit damage with dual wield and damage reduction with close. Even more so. Pretty easy to hit because willpower. So that was the Paragon board. Moving on to gear, we got Harlequin Crest. Yes, I got a triple GA. You want to proc Masterwork on the cooldown reduction. Sadly, I didn't get max resource because I would be able to reach 400 Fury with the full setup. Carol's Might, you also want to get this bad boy. Fist of Fate. I got also triple GA, attack speed, crit chance, lucky hit, Masterworked. Next up, we got Arid's Bearing. No one really sells these because no one plays that or it just doesn't feel like it's worth anything, so I'm unable to get a better roll. Mine is not max roll on the Dust Devil from Talik, so if that was max roll, I would hit maybe even more than 500 milli. For the boots, I really like Grasping Whirlwind for Horde. It's amazing. You pull mobs together. It's also a very good build for a group play, this Whirlwind. Not only for the damage, but they also support with shouts, which is non-stop damage increase for the group, but also grouping mobs together. On the two-hander, we go with the Whirlwind Dust Devils, so it's the most effective. And we want to proc double chance for Dust Devils. And one-hander is Dust Devil size for the aspect here, which caps at 100% by the way. But if you go over 60% with Masterwork on the one-hander plus 20% from the aspect, that's 80%. I do have in mind though to put the Dust Devil size on the two-hander and double chance proc on a one-hander. That's what I have in my mind with maxing out Twister Glyph, but so far we got this thing going. Max Resource, Ramaladni, Grandfather, damage increase. Here we go with the Ring, Bolt Chieftain. You can also go with Devilish because we have a lot of cooldown reduction, but I like Bolt Chieftain for the extra cooldown on Call of the Ancients, but also for the Dust Devils. You really want to get lucky hit and making enemies vulnerable. That's very good. Pairs very well with the Skill Tree passive point. Starless Sky, another Mythic, very good ring for damage increase, but also for Fury Sustain. And my favorite, Lockrant's Talisman. That's the reason why we stack max rewards, because we get extra crit chance and also crit damage, which does not display in stat sheet, and that makes people think it doesn't work. That's why it's so cheap. Maybe not anymore, because Barbs finally figured out the setup on Whirlwind. I used to rock this setup in PTR, which was over a month ago. You can check the build in right top corner. I was already doing this setup, and it was very cracked because it was unnerved Barb. But even though Barb has been nerfed, this build is very insane, even single target. This is where I talk about the Fist of Fate being bugged. There is also another bug with Pain Gorgers and Shard of Wrathil, where Pain Gorgers damage increase does not work. But why not, right? More bugs. With gems, you can go Ruby if you're struggling with sustain. I like to go Strength, purple. Jewelry, max resistances, no need because we got Terrell's Might, but what else, right, to put? Kind of sad they didn't bring more gems for jewelry. It's kind of weird, only armor resistances. Hopefully, more to come. Some strengths over here, we got insane AoE and damage, mobility, sustain, cheap items. Now, one of the weaknesses, you require really high end gear for that single target to be very good. So that's like the only one. Now, talking about the pit setup though, instead of the Fist of Fate, which are bugged with Ramaladni, I would go with the legendary gloves with crit chance, attack speed, and crit damage. I would slap on a Ground Stomp Earthquake damage increase aspect, because your ancients actually do cast earthquakes, as you can see in the description. So whenever you stand in your ancients earthquake, you will proc this aspect from Ground Stomp, and you will also proc Rumble the glyph from Paragon Board damage increase. That would be my tech for the pit, 100%. Now there's some extra secret stuff for Barb. When you get Battle Fervor from the skill tree, when casting a Warcry, those Dust Devils will proc automatically Berserking. The more you will cast 3 shouts from that, right? At least, so from Warcry. And that duration of Berserking actually stacks, so you'll get like 8 seconds Berserking. And another one is with Andariel's Visage, Andariel's and Starlight aspect with Devilish aspect. Devilish is when you generate the Hunter Fury, you cast Dust Devils. And with Andariel's Visage, where is life on hit, a very high life on hit. Starlight aspect is when you overheal, you get resource as a result for that. So you just, your shouts, your Dust Devils will auto heal you from the Andariels, and that overheal will trigger Starlight, which is the resource gain, and the resource gain will trigger Devilish. So you can just, do the first shout, and you can just stand back, do absolutely nothing, and those Dust Devils are gonna keep spinning and spinning, creating and stuff like that. Pretty crazy. Very good passive build, if you will, for farming and whatnot. And Consumables, I'm gonna add that section probably in here or somewhere. I like to use a Max Resource Potion because it also reduces the cost reduction, and just in general, stacking resource very good. I like that one. You can go with Lucky attack speed, but I like to see some big numbers. So yeah, I would say that was pretty much it for this build and setup. If you have any questions, hit me up on Discord, in the comment section. I also live stream every day, both on Twitch and YouTube. So if you guys want to check me out, or if you guys want to talk about Barbarian stuff, whatnot, hit me up. I'm more than happy to discuss some things. But yeah, thank you everybody for watching. I appreciate you all. Good luck on the gear hunt and whatnot. And yeah, enjoy. Until next time, have a good one. Peace.